Hi folks, we are back on the road again. A fairly short trip today, about an hour to our destination. We're heading to a town of just 249 people. I think the population is currently listed as, but it was one of the most significantly important towns in Tasmania with a population of over 5,000 people at its peak. It was the centre of tin mining in this country and was also the first town that was fully lit by hydro-sourced power, which was an incredible benchmark. So anyway, we'll give you a little bit of a look around Waratah in Tasmania. We're very excited for today. There's a lot to see there in this little town. We fell in love with it the first time we were there. It's the only town we've come across so far that has a gorgeous waterfall right smack in the main street of the town. It's actually beautiful. Anyway, we'll see you at Waratah. Well, I was about to say that we're not sure what the weather's going to do today. The forecast is a little bit sketchy, but the reality is, I guess, what we've learned since we've been here is that that's pretty much every day here in Tasmania. The weather's so incredibly changeable, and it seems like on a bad day, you're only going to wait an hour, and it's a good day, and vice versa. Anyway, it's looking pretty good out there. The clouds are moving. The sun is trying to peek through. This is this. I'm giving you a sample of some of the scenery just on the road here. It's a fairly short drive, about 65 kilometres from where we live down to Waratah. But the scenery along the way is just spectacular. And just the drive itself is an incredibly pleasant experience. Some of these fields, again, I've said it before, try not to be monotonous, but this for us just reminds us of Ireland and the areas where we lived in Kildare County. The beautiful farmlands and green fields and the cattle and the sheep and so forth. It's just really spectacular. And as promised, the weather's done what the weather does. The rain's arrived, it's looking pretty bleak and miserable. The temperature's dropped down to 7 degrees now, so we're keeping an eye on that as well. We have had snow in the last couple of days. We had a pretty heavy snow, actually down to about 200 metres. And so there's no snow today that I'm aware of. I think the rains have set in pretty much. But anyway, we will keep our fingers crossed that Tassie does what Tassie does and that the rain stays for a while and then we get a break in the clouds and we can get outside and do some exploring. So the weather has decided not to cooperate. It's still pretty wet and miserable out here. We're kind of optimistic it might clear later in the day. But in the meantime, let me take you down and give you a peek at these falls that I've been talking about. They're actually running really well right now, given that there's been a lot of local rain. We've parked here at the Bischoff Hotel. We'll be back there later today. It's a favourite spot of ours. Gets a kind of low rating, kind of low 3 rating, but our experience there, the food's been tremendous and the service was great. So we'll definitely be back there shortly. But let me swing this around. You can have a quick look at the valley. And then, as promised, right in the heart of town, these gorgeous falls. And they are definitely going off today, given the amount of rain that we've had. Just spectacular. You definitely get a sense that this is a town that's generally damp or moist. And what brings it home is this beautiful carpet of moss. Everywhere I look around this area here where we've stopped for the moment is this gorgeous carpet of bright green moss. It's all around us. It's quite spectacular, actually. Quite beautiful. So just while I let you take a look at the falls, a little bit of history on the town. It came to be in 1871 when James Philosopher Smith found the Mount Bischoff tin deposit, and that really establishes Waratah as the oldest mining town in Tasmania. As I mentioned at the beginning, it grew substantially to the point in its peak where there was about 5,000 people living here because of the mining opportunity. And then in later years, they established 400 incandescent street lamps that were being fueled off the hydro power generation here, which was quite a breakthrough at the time. And certainly this was the first town in Australia that was fully lit by the local hydro services. So quite a breakthrough. Now by 1914, the situation had changed dramatically. The underground mine was closing, and though there was still surface mining being carried out. And then in 1929, the surface mining ceased as well. Though I know there was one miner here that continued into the 1940s, continued to try to uh, get their value out of it. I don't think they did, in terms of I don't think they got rich. Let's put it that way. Um, and then in 1942, 1947, the government reopened the mine as an industry of national interest. Basically, they basically said that they were going to try and kind of revive it, and then it closed for good in 1947. Again, it wasn't giving the value that was expected. In 2008, some open cut mining was restarted effectively, but and that continues to today. So there's still some work going on there that's producing some value. And as you would expect, as with many of the towns here in Tasmania, the township is scattered with relics of the past. We'll take a look at some of those as we wander around. And tourism is a major economic force here. This is a little town that gets quite a lot of value out of visitors, and it's built for it. The scenery here is really set up for visitors. Maybe not on days like today; it's a bit miserable, but we came here very soon after we first came down to Tassie, and in the summer, this is a gorgeous location to come and visit. There's a lot of wildlife here. There's viewing platforms and seats around to watch the platypuses and wombats and so forth in the area. They get snow. As we're driving up here, we saw the remnants of a snowman, I guess from the snow that we had a few days ago. It's pretty much all washed away now, but it definitely gets cold enough to get snow here. We've snuck into the local museum here. It's hungry because it's kind of warmer than outside at the moment, but it's a great little collection of stuff. The cost of entry is basically a gold coin donation. We were made very welcome when we arrived, but it's a great little spot to come and have a look around. There's some great relics here. The building is the old courthouse, and it doesn't take long when you walk in here to realise that the remnants of the courthouse are still here. So here's the old witness box, still there, and the pews and so forth. And then behind us, where the judge would have sat. That's pretty cool. And then, of course, lots of information about the mining industry and the history of mining here to check out. What a great little museum that is. Really some interesting stuff. And I've got to say, the proprietor here, who's moved over here from Western Australia. We hear so many people have moved from Western Australia, but lovely gentleman, and so much information to share and so forth. So if you ever get to Waratah, do take the time to check out the local museum here at the old courthouse. Just right next door to the museum, they've got this old cabin here, the Philosopher's Hut, which is a restoration of the original Philosopher's Hut, to give you a sense of what the living environment in those early days here would have looked like. And another remnant from the past here. So we've just driven about 10 kilometres out of Waratah, heading to Philosopher Falls. I'm planning to do the walk down to the falls, I believe. It's quite scenic from what I'm hearing down there, so we'll check it out. The rain continues to fall here, so hopefully it's going to behave itself and not get too intense. But this, I want to show you, this forest is just gorgeous on our way in. Beautiful area. There's a fork in the road here, and it's not completely obvious which way we're going to go here. Well, that was confusing for a start. There's not many good signs here in terms of where to drive and where to park. And Mother Nature has really decided that this is not a good day for me to do the walk. The rain's intensified, and given I've just taken a peek at the trail and it's pretty interesting, I think we're going to give it a miss today and do it another day. Maybe it'll happen after lunch. We'll see. Anyway, moving on. Well, just because I couldn't get down into the Philosopher Falls because of the weather, we've just had a lovely lunch at the local pub. As I said, great food, and I'm now back at the falls here in central Waratah, and I'm going to see if I can walk down to the bottom of the falls and have a quick look there. I seem to have found the path that leads to the falls. The signs are a good indicator that I haven't got completely lost. And I can certainly hear the falls, so I'm not far away. So looking up through the bush there, that's the pub. Give you a sense of where we are. I'm getting pretty close now, based on the sound. Yeah, I can see the spray coming off as well. There we are. Waratah Falls. Somewhere up there is the pub. Hidden in amongst it. So it's an interesting set of falls as well, because the main falls are clearly dropping with a lot of water going behind what effectively is a rock fall, and then we're seeing the water coming through essentially underneath the rocks down below me here. So it's a quite interesting effect the way that works. You can see it's almost like it's filtering through the rocks up ahead. Well, I can honestly say that's a far more impressive set of falls than I imagined it was going to be. And I'll definitely come back here on a nicer day, a warmer day, to have a close look around. But now, time to make my way back up to the top. Well, I'm afraid to say that turned out to be a far shorter and probably less interesting visit to Waratah than we had originally planned. But the day turned out to be quite damp and quite cold and somewhat miserable. Despite that, I think it's been a great visit. I think we both had a good day, and it may be treated as a dress rehearsal for another visit that we'll plan in the warmer months of the year, where we'll do a much deeper dive exploration of Waratah. It's still one of our favourite little spots here in this area of Tasmania. Just again, the vibe of the place and the history of the place is incredibly fascinating to us, and the pub never lets us down in terms of having a great feed. So we'll be back, and I'll share a far more comprehensive exploration of Waratah. In the meantime, I hope you're having a great day, and we'll see you soon.